Good afternoon, everyone. I am your host, Shashi, with you all again on Global Women Dialogue Talk Show. As you know, we are here to create more voice for women and by women. And today's our guest is connecting with us from the UK, United Kingdom, Noleen. She is an impact entrepreneur and consultant. Along with that, she has lots of with her to share with her how she is creating impact, what kind of entrepreneur she has, as she has lots of work, lots of companies. She will share in her work, in her our talk show while talking with her, how she is creating impact, what kind of work she is doing to make this entrepreneurship journey for self and for others a better place and better work. So let's welcome our today's speaker, Noleen from UK. Welcome, Noleen, on our Global Women Dialogue talk show.
Thank you so much, Shashi. It's really an honor to be here. Thank you for having me, and I look forward to sharing more.
Thank you, Noleen, for being with us and finding time from your busy schedule and sharing your knowledge and wisdom with us in coming forward in our talk show. So let's jump right away talking about you first. How we see
Mhm.
as a person, what way you say about yourself as a person.
Yeah. So my family and my roots have a very huge impact on where it is that I want to go in life and what it is that I want to achieve. I was born in South Africa during apartheid. We didn't realize how tough life was until I grew up and saw how other people lived, and we realized how little we had when we were growing up. But we were always happy as kids. And for me, I um, found not just escape, but inspiration in reading and learning new things and discovering how things were in different parts of the world. And I was just always reading, always loved learning, and went to university. My mind grew and expanded too. I started to travel. Initially, traveled so that I could earn to fund my university studies because I'd completed honors and I'd wanted to do masters, and just discovered how much there was to the world and how much there was to do in the world. Because initially, my worldview was quite small. I wanted to improve life for my family, for my friends, for my community. And then I realized that the community was larger, that there was a global community and that there was so much more that needed to be done. And that really started me on my journey. I've always been quite passionate about people and seeing the positive impact that I could have or that I could have with others and seeing things change. And my other love and what comes naturally is business. So I've always tried to merge those two things, look at how we can work on more economic empowerment initiatives, because I feel like when that truly happens, that's when you start to move the needle and you start to shift things for people. So those are just some of the things that I feel strongly about and I'm passionate about. I've always loved people and I love working with people, and a very fundamental part of how I work is collaboration. I believe that we can do more together. It allows for us not just to do more, but to do more strategically, because you connect the dots only when you are with other people.
Right. And that's wonderful introduction, and that's wonderful way to see as a person Nolan who is with us today. So Nolan, as you said, connecting with other people, doing more, working together, and you are yourself as an impact entrepreneur and who is working with a lot of foundation, lot of organization, lot of companies. Would you like to share few of them, or maybe what's your all work is all about?
Yeah, sure. So one of the things that I do is consult. So I work with private corporations, nonprofits, family offices, impact funders to look at not just their reporting mechanisms, but also how they can work together to have more of an impact that is measurable. We look at strategy, we look at operations, we look at embedding sustainability practices. For nonprofits, we look at how they can be more sustainable, not just in terms of social and environmental impact, but how they can be more self-sustainable. So, how can they generate enough funding to keep going? The same with businesses. When you have a solid foundation, you're able to do more good. And that's the point, irrespective of the organization, building those solid foundations and being able to catapult from there. I'm involved in a number of nonprofit and for-profit activities and partnerships. I have a community interest initiative called Inspiration for Good. We focus on developing profitable projects to support nonprofit initiatives. I'm responsible for impact on an aquaculture initiative called IntelliAqua with the founder, Priya, fantastic young lady, great vision, and really looking at transforming the aquaculture industry. I'm co-founder of Think Ocean, which is also a community interest initiative, and the focus is on ending the plastic pollution crisis. So founder Hugo, he was initially an environmentalist working on a number of initiatives like setting up whale sanctuaries. He was involved in setting up what is one of now the largest whale sanctuaries in South America. And he saw the impacts that plastic was having on the oceans and ocean life. Started shifting toward that. What we've been looking at is creating more of a circular economy, looking at how we can actually not just clean the waterways and the rivers and prevent plastic from going into the ocean, but recycle plastic into usable products. We'll be launching a clothing and accessory range. We're actually launching during London Fashion Week. We were invited to show during London Fashion Week, so quite excited about that. And part of the Global Government Blockchain Association, World Innovation Alliance, and a number of others. So there's a lot, but my initiatives and my involvement is usually quite strategic in nature, and supportive, and always looking at how we can collaborate to do more rather than reinventing the wheel. I'll also be looking to work with the Graph Foundation, which is essentially the Google for blockchain, and looking at how we can create an impact ecosystem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think hearing all your initiative, your partnership, your work, as it's always, some sort of way, it's always having some sort of purpose and impact directly with the people and the environment. So when we are talking about impact entrepreneur, as you are doing, as you are proving by collaboration, by those organization and those work, those are really creating impact. How you find that kind of work is required more in future?
Yeah, absolutely. If now if you look online, if you're on LinkedIn, everyone is talking about sustainability. All the organizations are getting sustainability, in-house sustainability staff, or involved in sustainability consulting, or looking at, certain reportings. There's a lot around that at the moment. And I think there is going to be more and more of a shift towards businesses being accountable for their actions and having positive impact. It's no longer going to be enough just to say we're not doing bad. It's going to have to be we're not doing bad, but we're also doing good. And that's going to be the shift. And more and more there's going to be a move toward businesses actually being funded and rewarded for having an impact focus, because there's more and more of a focus on global problems. So, one of the big things is it's not just about doing good, and that's seen from a nonprofit perspective. Doing good and solving global challenges can be very profitable business. And more entrepreneurs are going to see that there's an opportunity there. So there's an opportunity not just to impact the world in a positive way, but to be able to make money doing it. And the more money you make, the more good you can do. I don't know if you've heard of the app Talking Tom. It was a cat, and yeah. So I don't know if you know, but the founders of the app are very, very focused on social impact, and they use a large amount of the money that they made, which was over $1 billion from Talking Tom, to support impact initiatives. And the way that impact entrepreneurs go about making money doesn't necessarily have to be directly linked to the impact they're having. It is about having your heart and your mind focused on having that greater impact, irrespective of the method that you use to get there. And Talking Tom is a great example of that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Noleen, when we are talking here and you are bringing a lot of points about sustainability in coming future, the work culture, the work environment, and people approach towards the work, having approach towards making a positive impact, and while same time having their business also while creating positive impact. Here, when we are talking about sustainability, we are talking a lot about climate change, about the climate and
Mhm.
environment things as well. How you're finding bringing such important issues, which are as we are working globally, as your work is globally, how you find bringing such important issues in global canvas is important as well.
Yeah, it is, absolutely. But I believe it's getting easier. And it's getting easier because there are a number of um, global organizations like the UN, and there are a number of global goals that are being set that countries are signing up to. So, they're signing up to certain to overcome certain challenges, for example, by 2030 or whenever. And because there's more and more of this happening, more companies are being mandated to take climate change into account. And
Mhm.
um, this is actually being seen as a financial risk. And as soon as you link money to anything, it becomes both the carrot and the stick. So more people are actually motivated to make a difference and to pay attention. And because larger companies are being mandated to report on levels of financial risk linked to climate change, the knock-on effect is on the smaller organizations as well. Also, more consumers are becoming conscientious consumers. They want to know what type of impacts their suppliers are having. They're wanting to know what's happening with their supply chains and in the environment. They're wanting to know what worker practices are like for different organizations. So there is a shift, and the mindset is changing. So yes, there's a lot of work to be done, but it is becoming easier to have these conversations. And because of that, it presents a great opportunity for us to do more.
Yeah, yeah, that is so true. And when we are talking all those issues in business perspective, developing business, what kind of approach one should have when we are developing business, or when one should, as an entrepreneur, how should they should see as a business, how they can develop.
Yeah, so I think, in terms of development of business, start with all of your sustainability practices in mind, and start with your self-sustaining practice in mind. And it's not just about business, it's even about nonprofits, it's any organization that you actually want to get off the ground, or even if it's a personal endeavor or personal initiative. Look at what your sustainability practices are and look at how you can build them into the strategy and operations of your business, and include elements of reporting around sustainability and embed it into every part of your business. The earlier you start, the easier it becomes. And this is helpful not just when companies that are the larger companies that you might be supplying to start asking about your sustainability reporting and practices, but it's also helpful when you start looking at funding if you're looking to scale. Or if you're looking, to access grant funding or anything like that, there is more of a focus on impact funding, and most funding is going to transition to impact funding in some way or the other. So, build it from the outset, from the very beginning, look at the types of initiatives or the types of activity that your organization or your business has. Look at benchmarking sustainability focused factors, and start with what's feasible. So many people are talking about it and everyone expects it. Sometimes it's not possible for certain organizations to be able to implement in a specific way. So start with what is actually feasible for your organization, and go from there. As long as you build in the ability to do more as you grow, that's great. Always bear in mind that you have to do what is also within the limits of what's possible for you.
Right. And when we bring all those on our conscious level of efforts of bringing, whether it is an organization or whether it is your entrepreneurship skills, you are yourself as an impact entrepreneur. How someone can, if they would like to get connect with you or they would like to get work with you, what way they can get benefit or they can get, your services can be helpful for them.
So for me personally, the consulting, so I offer consulting. I don't openly publicize it, but I do coach some entrepreneurs, and mentor some business leaders as well. But like I said, it's not something that I openly publicize on any of my profiles. It tends to be only through my network that happens. And it's mostly, you see that there's an area that you feel that your business could potentially develop in, or you're looking at building in either growth or sustainability practice, or you're looking at starting up and you need some support around strategy and operations. That's something I can support with. If you're looking at expanding into new territories, that's something I help with. And also, if you're looking at collaboration, particularly in the impact space, either on the funding side or funded side, and looking at building or scaling or growing what it is that you're working on, then reach out. Even if it's not me specifically that can support, there are others that I'm able to connect with or direct you to that might be able to help as well. Yeah, and so always have to help for be useful. I also run some workshops and hold some panels and that sort of thing. So yeah, just reach out if there's something you feel I could support with, and the most that can happen is I'll try to direct you to someone else if I feel I can, or if it's really something that I'm unable to, I'll let you know.
Wonderful, Noleen. And when we are talking about your work as a female, you are creating your own leadership style by creating impact. How you define your leadership style?
So my leadership style, I'd say it's sort of that of an astronaut. I listened to something a while back, which was actually lessons from an astronaut, and wasn't specifically around management or leadership, but they were talking about how they have to learn everything to get on that spaceship, because there are a few of them and anything could happen, and it's about dealing with whatever comes as and when it does. And depending on what happens, different people within the team have to take the lead and have to be the expert, but they still need someone who's guiding and leading. And that is my style. I look at I assess the situation, what's necessary, whether it does require more of a light touch approach or, a hands-on approach, because it is different depending on who you're working with and partnerships. At times you need to be more involved, at other times it is just oversight. So I'd say it's one that's quite adaptive and flexible, and more than anything, it's about being able to read the situation, and lead based on the people that are around you and what they are most likely to respond to, and what allows for you to get the most out of them, so that there's shared value.
Wonderful, wonderful. And when we are talking all about as a female leadership, as an impact entrepreneurs, how do you find having a platform like this, Global Women Dialogue, uh, is important or needed to be in creating more women voice or maybe some other way?
Oh, absolutely needed. I think, there's so much good happening out there in the world, and there is a disconnect between the good that's happening and the ability to scale it and the resources to scale. And that's purely because not enough people know about what's taking place. So I believe absolutely there is a need for more platforms for voices to be heard, in the area of impact, as well as numerous other areas. I think that good work that is being done needs to be celebrated. And in addition to that, the only way that you develop meaningful partnerships is if people know about what you're doing. And without platforms that actually showcase what's happening, less people know. So I think it's essential.
Yes, thank you. Thanks a lot, Noleen, for sharing your faith and your trust with Women Dialogues. Last but not least, what kind of message or what message would you like to give to our audience or our listeners?
I would say if there's something that you're thinking of doing that has an impact for you personally, because impact starts small, for you personally, for others, it doesn't matter what step you start with on that journey, even if it is just writing down your vision for what it is you want to accomplish, and then focusing on some of the small actions that can get you there. Start somewhere. And then start to look at the people around you who can support you to get there, and then build and grow from that.
Wonderful, wonderful. So thank you, Noleen, for sharing your message, your knowledge, your wisdom, and your work as how we can create as an impact entrepreneurship or impactful businesses in our life while having right approach to grow and to motivate and leaving impactful things around us, including our own life. So thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Shashi. I really appreciate it.
And thanks to all our viewers who are listening and watching us. As you heard from Noleen, what means to be having impact entrepreneurship, how you can develop, how you can grow. So here we shared few of tips. If you would like to hear more, or if you would like to include in your own life or in your work, you can get connect with Noleen. Her details are available in the description as well. And same time, as we always say, Women Dialogue is here to create positive and inspiring stories, to create impact and grow together and develop together mission. And if you have any question, any query, please put in the comment below. We are looking forward to hear, and as well as we would try to bring those questions in our channel, in our discussion as well. With the same note, stay safe, stay connected, and yes, don't forget to share, subscribe, and like. See you in the next episode. Till then, take care. Bye bye.